August is over. September is here. That means the DWJ Clan Boss Challenge is over, and we're about to start a new one for September. Welcome on the Deadwood Jedi. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. We finished the August challenge. Burn, baby, burn. An HP burn challenge for your clan boss teams. Any kind of fire was a thing. And boy, there were some very cool submissions, which I do want to go over. So we're going to do those in just a minute. But I also want to let you guys know we have a September challenge as well. And of course, with all these videos, I always have to show off my version of it so you guys get an idea of how it could work. So let's first talk about August, because we had a bunch of submissions and it was really cool. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that did submit. But we had a couple of interesting choices, I think, that really kind of came from the community. And so I want to point out a couple of them. One of the cool ones, I think there's a couple ways this goes, right? Basically, we have 10 winners. 5 of them are random drawings. 5 of them are chosen based off of the top 3 damage dealers, and then 1 from our moderators and 1 from me. So that was kind of the idea that we had going on. So I just want to go over those really quick. So let's go ahead and start with the random 5 picks, right? We had Cedriaz that won. We had Alka, Roar G, Player Nets 2711, and Aim from Sin Clan. Those are the 5 winners. And then, as far as the top damage winners, we had Grem posting over 102 million, which I think is really impressive. Rob Bart getting 99.1, almost hitting that 100 million spot. And Cody with 69 million. I think these are pretty incredible. It's very, very hard to put up these kind of numbers when you're considering that these folks are, having to abide by these rules, or everybody has to be burning or putting up HP burn or something like that. So I thought it was really very cool. And then we also have my moderators went ahead and chose Azka as their selection. And I think this is probably one of the coolest possible choices. And the reason why is every member of this team had a different color of burn on them. So it wasn't just fire. It was all different colors of fire, which I think was very, very cool. And so that's pretty remarkable, I would say. So definitely worth getting the moderator choice award out of that one. And then, of course, for mine, we got a Gerp Tuck and Helior combination, which it really kind of makes me happy to see Helior in a clan boss team and putting up really, really good numbers. I did almost give it minus points for having Farrak and the Fat, which I don't have, but we overlooked that because it was a very, very cool kind of comp. So that was August challenge. Those are the winners. That was the challenge. Now we go into September. And so what we're going to do for September, I think, is one of the cooler and more interesting challenges we can have here. It is going to be, now I'm trying to read this to make sure I get all the rules and everything right while we're going through this here. But if I don't have this wrong, the idea here is that it's going to be a Wordle challenge. That's right. It's a Wordle challenge, guys. How does this work? The first letter of each champion's name must either spell a word in English, or if they spell a word in a different language, you got to give us a translation for it, right? The champs have to be placed in the correct order. So the person you put in the leader position, that's spot 1, right? Every time they go through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first letter of all their names will spell a word. Now, I didn't talk about this. My moderators love coming up with the rules, so I kind of leave them in charge. But we're going to throw in a little twist. If you have somebody with 2 names, like let's say Iron Brago, and you want to use both the I and the B, that's fine, but it still has to be in order. So if Iron Brago is your first champion, you would start your Wordle word with I and B. I don't know what that spells. I don't know if it can spell anything, but it would start with I and B. You don't have to do that. But if you do that, make sure to specify, and make sure to specify in your entries what word you're spelling. Don't make us, try to figure it out and mess it up and, mess you out of possibly winning. Now, a couple things, obviously, they need to be real words. These have to be real words, right? So if you're doing them, and also I should mention, pretty much all my moderators speak English primarily. So if you do something outside of English, there's a possibility you might be DQ'd by accident. So I really recommend sticking to English, but I also don't want to, disqualify people from other parts of the world. So you're welcome to put it from whatever world you're in, but make sure to put a little explanation and, guidance of what it is. So first off, nothing horribly profane. If you want to make it a little bit blue, that's fine, but nothing profane. I want to be able to post it on YouTube if I can. The other thing is that obviously it has to spell a word, so it has to be a real word, right? So or at least some kind of popular slang that we use. So if you wanted to do, say, you'll see with the word I'm going to be doing, because today my team follows these rules and it does spell a word. Now in this one you can do unkillable. There's no restrictions really as far as to the champions of the team. You just have to spell out a word. Now I'm spelling out Jedis, plural. That's my word. So as we all know, Jedis are not a real thing. I mean, they're a real thing, but they're not like a real thing. So I think I'm putting the quotations in the wrong spot. Anyway, whole point is that's a word. That's going to count as a word, right? Now, and if I made it Jedi Sifta or something, that's not a real word. That doesn't exist. Not possible. So that wouldn't count, right? Or if I did Jedis with a Z at the end, that wouldn't work either, right? That's not a real word. And it's not something that we actually use in context, right? So like if I wanted to spell out rect, R-E-K-T, that's something that we use in context all the time. Even though it's not a real word, that's something that we use all the time. And so I could do that. But as I tried to explain, what about rex? Add a Z to that. It's not a real word. It's not a real word. So, it doesn't count. So anyway, you guys can see that. Just use your best judgment. Don't ask too many questions. Just use your best judgment on that. And if you need to give an explanation, convince us with your words. But, as always, there's a possibility it might be DQ'd. But I think it's a fun concept here. Anyway, I'm bringing in 5 champions. I've got Jintoro, Emic, Demitha, Iron Brago, and Sepulchre Sentinel. So like I said, that's going to be Jedis, Jedi. Jedis. I figured it was appropriate for me. So I tried to think of something that would work for me. Anyway, this is a team. And here's the cool part about this team. Not only does it actually work, it's an unkillable team. Not only is it full auto, but it's also affinity friendly. I'm really happy with this team. This is that Emic Demitha team, right? The slow burning trunk heart team. I think it's really cool. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and do it. So this is my team. I'm just gonna click start. Oh, quick battle. No. I clicked the wrong button. All right, try this again. Okay, here we go. Let's jump in here. Let's see how this works. So here we go, right? Even though we're on Spirit Affinity, doesn't matter. We're going to go right in. We have it all set up to run, right? Jintoro's obviously a beast. So is Iron Brago. And there goes Emic. You get the unkillable going. Get ourselves grinding and into the flow here. Takes us a turn or two, a cycle or two to get really set up. But the great part is Sepulchre Sentinel gives us that block debuff. The myth is going to extend it. And because we have Iron Brago, I don't really have to worry about the increased defense part of that, which can make Sepulchre Sentinel a little bit funky with these teams. Because Iron Brago has a 3-turn increased defense. So we'll have it up for the full fight. Not only is Iron Brago going to hit harder, Sepulchre Sentinel will hit harder, but also means I don't have to worry about the early turns and making sure I can get to an affinity friendly state and worrying about the stun. So that's the best part about this. That's where we're at right here. Also, affinity doesn't impact things. So anyway, full auto team, which I think is pretty remarkable for this kind of a run. So let's go ahead and take a look at how I built the champions, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. All right, let's look at the champions in order that I have them put down. Jedi, so we'll start with the J, of course. Jintoro, the #1 guy for us. He's a big damage dealer, obviously. Plenty of damage going on here. Typical Clan Boss Masteries, getting that, Giant Slayer Warcaster, the War Master procs going on, that mastery, right? That tier 6 one. Anyway, he's doing great, and he's going to get a lot of those A2 attacks because of Emic cooling everything down, which is really, really nice. And then, of course, that takes us to Emic, right? We've got a couple mixed sets on him, but basically what we're looking for is that speed 247. We have him built for some damage, but I did forget to put masteries on him, so that's always a fun little twist to things. Just keep that in mind when we look at the damage numbers at the end of this. We also have Demitha here. Again, forgot the masteries with that. Stalwart set, just because it's what I had on her, not something that you need, but keeping the speed going the lowest in the team, that is the key. because she needs to be able to put that block damage, and it needs to cover everybody because the clan boss will target whoever doesn't have it. So that's going to be really important. Try to build her for some damage, but it wasn't really a focus. She only has one attack anyway. Next is our eye for the Jedi, Iron Brago. We cut out the B, went for the eye. There's the Iron Brago. What is it, 177 speed, I think this is, right? Obviously built for damage. He can slap, so I wanted to get as much slap in him as possible. Not, you know, to the nines, but still pretty good. And then of course we have Sepulchre Sentinel. Very last, the S for the Jedis, plural. She's keeping us affinity friendly, which is great. 177 speed as well, and it works basically because we have Demytha extending that buff on us. And Iron Brago, you know, the increased defense helps cover what Sepulchre Sentinel misses. Now, it worked in my run. I'm sure there's more fine tuning I could do to make the, you know, all the skills happen at exactly the right time and whatever, but this team works, and it works pretty good. So there we go. 34.23 million, almost a two-key team. Pretty fun though. I thought pretty cool little build. Now I didn't build it out to the nines. It really I tried to build it well, but you know, get it where it could. So I'm sure this could two-key if I needed to. I don't, so I'm not worried about it. Anyway, guys, that's it, right? The Jedi's team, I think, worked pretty darn well. So what does this mean? What are we doing, right? Remember, this is the Clan Boss Challenge, right? You'll find it on my Discord. That's where you have to go to submit your team. Basically, just follow the rules, right? Very basic kind of stuff. You just need to spell out a word, a real, you know, a word that we use. Whether it's in a dictionary or not, it's arguable, but a word that we use for sure, using the first letter of the name. Now, order is important, right? You got to make sure you're in the right order for that word to be spelled. And I will encourage you, when you're submitting your thing, along with the screenshot of the build, along with your number, make sure to also put in the word that you're trying to spell. Explain it a little bit. You don't have to write, you know, a 2-page dissertation or something like that. But, you know, let us know what you're trying to do here, especially if you're doing it in a different language. That's going to be tricky all on its own. So that's the advice. That's the goal. I do want to congratulate the winners that we have, right? I thought that was very cool from last month and got a lot more submissions than I was actually expecting. So kudos to you guys for being a part of this. Hopefully we can keep this going and have a lot of fun. Now, this does go until September 20th. You need to submit your winners, your winning numbers by September 20th. The reason being, I'm going out of town about the 24th or so I don't have a lot of time between then and then submitting it. So make sure September 20th, you get those submissions in. It is on my Discord. There are links in all my stuff, so you can always find it. But go there and you can submit. You'll find the appropriate channel to do so in. That's all we got, guys. That's the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Drop a like. Drop me a comment. I don't know. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Anyway, always a pleasure. Till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.